So some of you might have known or heard about or seen, I bought a large watch lot off of a longtime friend of mine. He goes online as Swordfish Dave, and I've known him for a long time. And he was cutting down his collection, and he reached out to me and said, "Hey man, do you want to buy some watches?" And I said, "Sure." We struck a deal. I bought it in large part, the lot, because of watches that I know and models that I really like, Black Horse, just like that, Black Vader. Let's see what else we got here. Blue Kakume, that kind of stuff. That was kind of my deal. These watches were in there, and I didn't really think about them until I pulled them out and I was looking at them closely. This one first interested me because this is the first gen Kinetic. This is the first gen Kinetic Landmaster. These came out in 1993. This one is November 1993. It's a 5M23. The model number is SBBW005. It's the first gen Kinetics, which they called AGS, Automatic Generating System. This is a first gen, so it only has 3 days. It wasn't a particularly efficient one, and obviously it works, but this one, the capacitor, I'm sure, is quite dead. I've gotten it to work. It'll work for a little bit, but then it kicks out. So I've got to do a capacitor change on this one of these days. What's going to make that a little tough is one of the cool things about this watch. They're monocoque case, no case back. They're front loaders, which I personally love. I just think is really, really cool because it makes the watch much more watertight, and it feels a lot more solid to me. These Landmasters, they have some extra little things because they were designed to be very tough. These things, they went to tops of mountains. Seiko did their usual stuff where they equipped, people in expeditions with these things. So it's got places you can put your blood type and your name and all that stuff. I guess if they need to identify you or you're injured, heaven forfend. It's cool. This here is your power thing. It's got basically no reserve. It's a screw down crown, which is cool. The date and the time and the day all set normally. This, by the way, was a JDM piece. I don't know what grabbed me. I guess they were modern, but they weren't too crazy. This case style that Seiko did is actually a cool one that they resurrected from another model, which I'm going to show you. This is the 2205 0769. Ignore that scratched crystal. You can look underneath and you see how beautiful the dial is. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful watch. Notice the high, flat top markers with recessed loom wells. This basically is like this ladies 6105. And I've always said that I wanted something full size, but with this crown, with that beautiful curved cutout and the 6105 style crown. This isn't quite that, obviously, in terms of the case shape, but it's closer. If they had done the round cutout instead of the flat, you wouldn't be that far away. Aren't these beautiful? Man, if I could wave a wand and make this one just, 40 millimeters across, not including the crown, boy, that'd be a cool one, wouldn't it? I don't think anyone's recreated this case. What a watch. Any case, so it was neat. I like this model. They originally came with a bracelet, which I don't have, in the box. The bracelet is stainless steel, and it looked much like this titanium. I don't know, I just liked it. It's unusual for me to like a watch like this, but they just gripped me right away. I think the only complaint I have is the way the markers are done, because they're printed just a flat thing. It makes it so the loom is just sitting on this sort of plinth. It has a little bit of an inset, But if it just has this weird kind of blobby, indistinct look to it versus this. But still, though, I really liked it. So this is AGS. It's one of the first, it's the first AGS Landmaster that Seiko came out with. And like I said, its technology was a little limited, but cool though. It's got all this other safety stuff for signaling around the outside. And a carbon fiber dial. And then we have this one. I pulled this one out and I was looking at these two and I'm like, I was looking at this one, I'm like, that's a cool watch. That's a cool watch. I have a real weakness for titanium, is one thing. But I mean, the colors were cool. It's not a deep bright red, it's more of an orangey red, which I like. It's like the deep red I don't really like. I like it with a touch of blaze in there. Old school painted hands, which makes them extremely legible. The sweep doesn't quite hit the markers. I'm going to have to redo that. This one, like this one, it has the same dial printing. Though this has you'll notice that the applied Seiko is frosted like a 6105. And that's super cool. That mark is supposed to be there, not quite sure why. Yeah, because that's the regular flat high polish, but that makes it look neat, pretty dressy. I don't mind this on the strap. So this baby here is, all right, this is SBDW005, SBDW005. These are both 40 millimeters, by the way. A great size. These days, it's pretty much what I like wearing. This AGS is a 5M23. This one right here is the 5M65, and it has also something that's cool. It has a True GMT function where you can set to the hour. I just think they did a really good job on it. The bracelet is well made, solid titanium. Part of the comfort factor for me, one, it doesn't stick to my wrist, because it's got basically all this breathing area under here. But there's a lot of cool stuff, solid titanium, but even better is it's got Seiko's expandable diver clasp on it, which actually I really like. And the Marine Master has the same one, which means that if, you've been out and you've been getting hot and moving stuff and your watch is sticking to your wrist, you can just, real quick, open it up and you get going. You don't have to wait to get home to find a spring bar tool to move things. And that's a real convenience. Okay, this titanium, it's not that Brights titanium that Seiko came out with, which is super ooper scratch proof, or they don't say that it's Brights, but this watch has not been, it lived in a safe for a long time, but it hasn't been, it's been worn, but I can't basically find a mark on it, really. Nothing really standing out. I wore this thing for a couple weeks. I'm honestly impressed. They have the same bezels with the same functionality. Same thing with the carbon fiber dial. This one's got like a little bit of maroon or blood in it. The printed markers are done slightly differently. You'll notice these are just blobbed on there, whereas these with the round markers instead of the baton, but everything is underpainted by white, and then it has lume on top of it. That's a pretty cool thing to do. That's a 6309, 6105 thing to do. So that's actually throwback. I just really think this is a good watch. It's also JDM, but it's date only, because the day complications typically are used to make the 24-hour hand go. Smoothly turning Bi-directional bezel, loomed. Speaking of loom, this thing glows like a maniac, seeing as it's got Seiko's new loom in there. You can read it all night and longer. It's just super comfortable. It's not too dressy. It's not too wild. It's functional. I don't know. My only complaint with this year 2000 Kinetic Landmaster, my only complaint is that the sweep is not exactly hitting the markers, and I'm going to have to go in there and deal with that. Other than that, it's fine. Capacitor seems to be good, holding a charge well. This one, I put this on the kinetic charger, and it basically does nothing. Yeah, I mean, I had it running single click for a while. You notice the markers. It hits the markers perfectly, though. They're both beautiful watches. They're both beautiful watches. I'm excited to keep them around. I think they're definitely worth looking at, and they make sense. I mean, it's a great watch, and I'm impressed and delighted with these. And the only thing that got this watch off my wrist was this, which is the next watch I'm going to talk about in the next video, that also came with the same lot. It's a first gen Marine Master with the box and everything else like this. And I looked at this thing and my heart did not ask me. It insisted that I put this on, which is surprising to me because I thought I was over these, but man, that's a beautiful watch. But that's for another video. Okay, well, thank you so much.